welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. To all returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support. So, hey guys, I hope all of you guys are doing amazing, doing well. Yeah, we're in May 2021. We're hanging in there, y'all. So it looks like things are trying to get back to normal. So that's amazing. That's great. I wanted to come on here. You see the title. I want to come on here and give my 2 cents on this topic. I see a lot of people who want to move to Texas going back and forth. So I just wanted to talk about the difference between Houston and Dallas and why I chose Dallas, and maybe I can give you guys some tips, some pointers, so maybe it can head you into the right direction of what you're looking for or desire for your life. So with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will most greatly appreciate it. Please follow me on my new Instagram at love_somlada. I would most greatly appreciate it. So if you guys see me in these shirts on my videos, I'll be having these like little nice shirts on or whatever, these little interview shirts. I work from home. So a lot of times when I wear these kind of shirts, you might see them repeated on some videos. It's because I'm dressed to work from home. So I usually do my videos like on my lunch break or before work or after work. So I'm usually kind of already in the attire. So I don't want people thinking I ain't got no clothes. I got plenty of clothes. But yeah, anyway, nevertheless, this was a shirt I got from the thrift store. I actually paid like $5 for it. So, I'm always about a good deal, honey. Yes, I'm a thrift store shopper. So whatever, judge me. Don't care. I'm cheap. Nevertheless, let's talk about the difference of Dallas versus Houston. Why did I choose Dallas? Why didn't I choose Houston? Why didn't I go there? What is the difference between the two cities? A lot of people that I speak to and hear from, they have never even been to Texas. So they don't know the pros and cons of both. So I am here to give you that information. And I would love for people who have been to both and who are either live in both, please drop your comments, give your 2 cents, give your opinions, because a lot of people, you would be surprised about how many people are not privy to Houston and Dallas. Texas is really booming. It is becoming the next big thing. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at, it's becoming the next big thing. And I think that Texas is now the secret that has gotten out. It is the volcano that has now erupted. So because of that, people are interested. They want to know what is it about this place, like these cities. So let's talk about it. So the thing that attracted me to Dallas, okay, and I'm sorry, look, y'all know I got ADD. I'm looking at my neighbor, I'm looking at my computer, all over the place. Okay, so the thing that attracted me, let's talk about Houston. Let's discuss Houston. I'm gonna give y'all some things that I know about Houston and some reasons why I chose to not move there. So back when I was about 25, y'all know I'm 39, old lady gang. I was 25 and I went to a family reunion out in Houston. So my grandfather's people, my mother's father, my maternal grandfather, y'all know I got mothers and fathers everywhere at this point. So my birth mother's father, he and his family is originally from Navasota, Texas, which is about an hour and a half outside of Houston, right? So when I was 25 years old, me, my grandmother, and Jordan went out to Houston and stayed with AJ's mom. And we all had went out to Navasota to visit and to go to a family reunion on my grandfather's side. So that was my first time at 25 years old. That was my first time getting on a flight since I was like 4. And yes, like y'all see me traveling now, wasn't always like this, but I could talk about that another day. But so 25 years old, I knew the seed was becoming planted for me to want to move to Texas. My parents always wanted to move to Texas. They talked about moving to Irving. They talked about moving to Grapevine. They talked about moving to Cedar Hill. My uncle Larry, he lived in Grand Prairie. So when I first came to Texas, I was introduced to Grand Prairie and Cedar Hill areas and Arlington areas. So with that, there was a seed planted in Dallas already for me. So I always knew of Houston, right? So when I went out there and we went to Navasota, I got the chance to see Navasota. I got the chance to see Houston. I got a chance to see Sugar Land and Pearland, all of those cities, right? So I'm out there, and the difference with Houston and Dallas, I'm gonna tell you off the top, is the greenery, the nature. Houston is so green. It's so lush. I mean, they have these tall trees, and if you've ever been to Atlanta, think of Atlanta, like the way the trees look in the woods and all of that. Louisiana, kind of, if you've been to any of these states, you know what I'm talking about. But Houston has that over Dallas, offhand. It was so lush and so green. I was just like, wow, it's beautiful here, because, you know, me being a city girl from LA, you don't see that. So I immediately was attracted to Houston, right? However, we went in July, right? So I got a chance firsthand to experience the humidity there. And also, I have an uncle in Galveston that we used to go visit when I was a kid. So I just remember as a kid, we went to Galveston. See, I done been to Astro World. I done been to the Astrodome. Like, I went to Galveston as a kid. I didn't remember the beach, but I remember going to Galveston. So people really don't be knowing, like, my connection. Like, I really been on, you know what I'm saying? I've been on. So we went in July, and the thing that I remember was the heat. I just remember the heat from the child on. You know, when we used to come out here and go to Louisiana as a kid, I just remember the heat. So I was like, okay, maybe that's me tripping as a kid. You know how sometimes impressions from children can be different as when you're an adult, right? So we go to Houston, and I'm 25 years old, so I'm old enough to understand, you know, and I was just thinking, like, I just remember saying, I'm gonna move to Texas. I knew then I was going to move to Texas. I was 25. Was Jordan? Yeah, I was 25. So I remember seeing all this green and these fields and these trees, and I was just like, I want to be in this. I want to be here. I want to be upon this, right? So I really liked Sugarland. I really did. But I just couldn't get past the humidity. The humidity just did it for me. It sealed the deal. I was like, I can't be in this kind of weather, because first of all, I get nosebleeds. And second of all, I'm one of those people, I've been getting hot flashes since my late 20s. So I knew that wasn't something that I could live in and thrive and be happy. So off top, Houston was like an X in terms of the heat and the humidity for me. Now you have other people who can be in it and be fine. Obviously they're fine. They're living there, they're thriving, you know, it's no problem. But for me, I just could not deal with that heat. I'm from California. I'm sorry, can't help it. So I just couldn't deal with the heat. So with that said, Houston has hurricanes, right? And my dumb ass can't swim. So I was like, okay, I've never experienced a hurricane. I don't travel to the Caribbean and to Mexico. You'll hear me say it on one of my videos and going to Mexico. I'm like, I'm not trying to get caught in a hurricane. Like, the idea of a hurricane terrifies me because I can't swim. And I didn't understand how bad hurricanes can cause damage. I did not understand that houses will be flooded out. Like, I remember when Katrina happened, Hurricane Katrina, and I just remember seeing it in New Orleans, and that happened in August. I just remember seeing that, and I just remember thinking, like, I probably wouldn't make it because I cannot swim. Like, I can't, and I think I would have panic attacks, and I think I would probably, the idea of being in a hurricane, literally, that's one of my fears. Like, I respect the earth, I respect the power of the ocean, I respect, you know, Mother Nature. So I understand that some things just are not in our control, right? So even when we got AJ and his mom were caught in one of the hurricanes, and they were basically, they had to get carried out via boat. So he was a victim of one of the hurricanes. So even in things like that, I remember meeting with a social worker, and they told me that their house, you know, got flooded out and they had to have it rebuilt and stuff like, so to me, I can't fathom being in a situation like that and living knowing every season that this is coming, because it's a hurricane season. It happens every year. That severity of storms don't happen every year, but there's a possibility and there's a chance that it could happen. And I couldn't live knowing that I don't really have a lot of family around. I don't have a lot of like shelter to go to. I don't have a lot of people I could call. So wherever I planted myself, I needed to make sure that I could do it and be safe and comfortable. And that was a huge, another con for me. So Houston has way more traffic. Houston is way bigger than Dallas. I know it may not seem like it, but it really is. It's a way huger metroplex. It's one of the biggest metroplexes in the country. And that traffic out there, woo, and the drivers out there. Now you think Dallas got some truck bullies? Baby, them people out there be speed demon. Like they be out there speeding like mad. And you know, I know how to drive fast. I know how to, you know, whip it or whatever, but I typically don't like being caught in that kind of, you know, traffic if I don't need to be. So just the way the people was driving out there, it just, you know, made me uncomfortable. I don't know if y'all seen the Katy freeway where it has like 26 lanes on both sides. Like it's literally insane. It's huge. It's a lot of people in Houston. There's a lot of people. It's very largely populated. So these were some of the things that just made me I didn't want to put myself there. So a good thing about it is it's like another ATL in my opinion. It kind of reminds me of Atlanta. If you've ever been to Atlanta, Houston is like very close to Atlanta in terms of like culture and stuff. So I really appreciated that. Houston has HBCUs, whereas does Dallas have any HBC? I don't think Dallas has any HBCUs here. I know that Houston does. They have Prairie View, they have Texas Southern. I know they have maybe a couple of more here and there, but I know that those are the two main ones that I know of for sure is Texas Southern and Prairie View. Also, the city I like out there, I really like Cypress. I really like Cypress, but I'll get to the cities I like. When I was moving, Houston was more popping with the nightlife, the clubs, the bars, the strip clubs. You know, the scene was more happening. To me, Dallas is not rich in nightlife like that, in my opinion. Again, I come from LA, so Hollywood life. But to me, Houston was popping. In terms of the nightlife, it was popping. I don't know how it is now because I'm not in that lifestyle as much, but I know back then it was cracking. But the thing is that I wasn't looking for that. I was looking more to be settled. I was looking more for a quiet life. So that didn't draw me, but I know it drew a lot of people because they were still young and, you know, finger snapping and finger popping or whatever. That just wasn't where I was trying to be at that point of where I was trying to go in my life. Houston has more single people. It is what it is. A lot of people may disagree or I don't know. But to me, Houston has way more single people. When I was dating, I met a lot of guys from Houston. I would not take it serious with them because I'm like, I'm never moving there. And I don't want you to move all the way up here for me. So what are we going to do here? You know, it was kind of like pointless. They would be like, well, I could drive to see you. Don't drive to see me. It's totally okay. It's all right. But I met a lot of eligible, nice guys in Houston. I know there are a lot of beautiful single ladies out there as well. So Houston to me was more diverse with the single life. You have more of a chance to meet people. So that to me is I'll talk about the dating life on another video, I guess. But yeah, I did notice that Houston did offer more ability to date than Dallas. The soul food in Houston is way better than Dallas, 100 times better. I know people may disagree because you may be from here or whatever, but it's the truth. Houston has more, it's more rich in Black culture. So it's closer to New Orleans. It's just more, it's more rich. It's more Black people there. So the soul food spots are gonna automatically be more in numbers and it's better. Like the food down there is amazing. But the difference with me is is that, you know, the older I'm getting, I don't eat soul food as much as I used to. I eat soul food maybe on occasion, like special occasions, Easter. I don't eat soul food as much. So I didn't need that in my life as much. I'm more of a Mexican food. I love Mexican food more. So Dallas to me is more richer in Tex-Mex. So that to me was more my draw. You know, I don't eat like I cook my own soul food. So but if you're looking for that type of culture, it is definitely more in Houston, in my opinion. Some cons about Dallas, we have tornadoes. And I know some people who maybe from California or from other places, they're like, well, what's worse, hurricanes or tornadoes? Well, it just depends on you as a person. Because for me, as I stated, my dumb ass can't swim. So that's just something I never learned to do. And, you know, Jordan has taught me how to doggy paddle. So I could, you know, do this a little bit. But in terms of like, could I swim myself to safety? I don't know, because when you swim, you have to be calm, and I'm not calm. So I don't know if I could survive in that environment. And here's the thing too, all of Houston does not flood. It's kind of like a bowl. So it's kind of like New Orleans. If you think of New Orleans, it's like a bowl. So the higher up you are, the less it floods. But just for me, in the time when I was 26 and I was thinking about moving, that more was my issue. So now, being almost the age I am now, I understand that concept. So if I did move, I'll tell you all the cities I will go to where it has less of a chance of flooding. But yet and still, to me, a hurricane for me is worse than a tornado. You think of tornadoes, people think of Wizard of Oz, you think of like storm chasers, you think of people like in Oklahoma, how they, you know, wipe out a whole town and all of that other stuff. I've been here in Dallas for 14 years and I've never seen a tornado. Have they hit since I've been here? Yes. It has hit in certain areas. I know that a bad one hit a couple of years ago, and a lot of popular areas in Dallas were affected. So with that said, it can hit, and a tornado can touch anywhere. It's not just in areas that are rural and it's way in the middle of nowhere. Yes, there's more of a chance it will hit in a rural area because it's flat land and there's nothing around to help block it. Whereas more in inner city, you have buildings, you have trees, it's cities. So it's more around to help block the wind of it building. But yet and still, it can still hit anywhere. And it did hit in Dallas. It did hit near Love Field Airport. A lot of homes were destroyed. A lot of buildings were destroyed. Schools were destroyed. So, but what happens is you just build it back up. You know, that's all you can do. So to me, I felt like I could deal with a tornado over a hurricane because you have a hurricane season and then you have a tornado season. Our tornado season is, I want to say, from April to the end of June. And for me, I was like, okay, I can deal with those 2 months, because what's happening is the weather is transferring from cold. One second. Yeah, I literally had to move my whole location. Anyway, I mean, I know they have to mow the grass, you know, whatever, but anyways. So I forgot what I was saying. Yes, in terms of the weather. So I just felt like I could deal with the tornado season over the hurricane season. And as of yet, I'm thankful I haven't been caught in a tornado. When they tell you that it's a storm warning and you need to go home, you better listen. If they're telling you it's a chance for hail, it's a chance for thunderstorms, it's a chance, tornado warning, get home. Get home. Like, it's really not rocket science. I think people don't really understand or believe or understand the concept. Get your ass in the house. Like, it's really that simple. But in terms of the rain, you can't control it. You just can't control how high it's gonna come. They tell you it could be a chance for how many inches. But to me, that just was the difference. It was more for me of, can I deal with hurricanes or can I deal with tornadoes? And for me, I can deal with tornadoes a little bit better. With Dallas, at the time when I moved here, there was less traffic. Now it has tripled in the time that I've been here due to the population, due to the massive growth. So it has, I mean, it's about to catch up to Houston in a minute because it's now becoming just as populated, just as crowded. And the reason why they're doing constant work everywhere is because they can't work faster than the people coming here. So there's more cars on the road, and it's like, you know, the city, they slow with it. So you will literally see a freeway that has been worked on for the past 7 years, and you're like, why won't they finish it? Because they're slow. Like, they're just slow with the population. I mean, not the population, they're slow with the construction. They're slow with the growth of it. So I feel like Dallas used to not have as bad traffic, but that has changed. The difference is where I live, it may take a little longer, but I can take the streets. Whereas certain parts that you may live in Dallas, it may be more difficult for you to take the streets. And I'm more of I can hop off the freeway and take the streets with no problem, where some people only have the option of the freeway. So that was also a big matter for me as well here. Where I'm located, I am close to Oklahoma. I have family in Shreveport and Arcadia and Natchitoches. I wanted to be within distance of where I can drive and see family if I ever wanted to. And not that I'm close to these family members, super close, but they are family members that have known me since I was a kid. They've known Jordan since she was a kid. And now I guess I need to start taking AJ around. And he needs to know the family that, you know, has been here since we were kids. So I need to start actually I need to make some of those trips. But I wanted to be, and also when I moved here, I wanted to be close to AJ's grandmother, who's my aunt, and his other aunt, and all of that side of the family, which was a total bust. But, you know, at the time, that was where my head was. I wanted to be near people that I knew my immediate family, and I wanted to be more closer to them. So at the time, that was the best choice for me to make because I was trying to build relationships with them. In the end, none of it worked out, and I got a baby out of it, but that was where my mind was. So I came here because I was trying to build relationships with that side of the family. DFW Airport is the best airport to fly out of in this vicinity. You have people who come from Oklahoma that will drive here. You have people who come from Houston that will drive here. People who come from Tyler, Louisiana, they'll come here because DFW has the best ticket prices. So with me wanting to get more interested in traveling, it made more sense for me to be near an airport that provided the best prices. And Love Field, which has Southwest, that's our hub. We're Southwest hub. So it just made more sense for me to be, and then I was flying back to LA, back and forth, seeing my grandmother, seeing Candace. So it just made sense for me to be near an airport where I could afford the travel. Whereas you fly out of Houston, a ticket to LA gonna be like $450, $500. And I wasn't about to drive 4 hours up here so I could go to LA. So I just wanted to be near an airport that was more affordable. And honestly, it is. DFW has the best ticket prices. So that made more sense for me. Dallas, at the time when I came here, it was really not as developed, very underdeveloped. And over these 14 years, the growth has been massive. Literally, places I remember that were fields now are homes, schools, shopping centers. I remember Little Elm wasn't hardly anything. I remember Princeton wasn't hardly anything. I even remember at a time when McKinney was selling 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes for $130,000. No lie. Like, I remember this. So to see where it is now, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I remember at a time when there wasn't much to offer, but I came right before the boom. But at that time, I felt like it was more areas to be developed in Dallas, whereas Houston is kind of like, it's really built up already. They have the outer skirts that they were building up, but more of the major city was already built up, where Dallas still had a lot of room for growth. And at this point, the growth is massive. So if you want to be more of an established area, Houston is good. If you want to be more of an area that is newer and up and coming and growing constantly, I think Dallas is a good look for you. I knew when I came to Dallas, it was gonna be the next LA. I knew it. I was reading about it. I did my research. I knew that Dallas was next. I knew it was next up. No one believed me. No one listened to me. Haha, if I would have bet on it, I definitely would have been probably a millionaire right now. But I knew that Dallas was next up, and I wanted to be in a place that was next up. So I came to Dallas at the time where it was still being developed, and now like I said, the volcano has erupted. So yeah, I came at that time. Like I said, I was exposed to Dallas more as a kid. I was exposed to Cedar Hill, Grand Prairie. The first place I drove was across Joe Pool Lake. That was the first place I ever sat in a car and drove. My Uncle Larry took me and drove me across that lake. So it still has a special place in my heart to this day. And I remember back then, Grand Prairie wasn't built up. Like, Grand Prairie didn't have nothing like that. So to see where it is now is like the Miraloma? I think it's Miraloma subdivision or Miralagos, one of the two, don't quote me. But it's this subdivision and it is so massive. And sometimes I look and I'm like, wow, I can't believe how much it has grown in that time, So I just was more exposed to Dallas. I knew of Arlington, I knew of Six Flags. I knew that Dallas was a place where you could come and live and be comfortable and buy a house. And I just knew all of that. So automatically, I looked to Dallas first, but I did go to Houston to weigh out my options, which is what I tell my clients to do. I tell anybody who hits me up to do. You need to visit both for yourself, because what works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for the next person. You need to see it and experience it for yourself in order to see, and then go at the worst time. Go during summer, go during August, go during July, go during the worst time so you can decide, okay, at the worst time of year, can I deal with it? At the worst time of year, could I see myself living here and being happy and thriving? That's why I tell anybody, don't go during March and April when it's the most beautiful time in the spring, the blue bonnets are blooming and the birds are chirping. Go when it's miserable. Go when you see all the bugs out. Go when it's hot. Go when it's miserable. Go during that period so you can then see, okay, could I live in this type of environment for 3 months? Because it's gonna be like a good 3 months. And I mean, honestly, it don't really begin cold here like that till like November, maybe after Thanksgiving. So it maybe, let's say June, July, August, September, October, at least 5 months out the year. So you need to see in that time, is this somewhere you can see yourself being long-term? I will say Dallas is more family oriented. I did notice that there were more married couples here. Like when I came here, everybody was married, and that was really weird for me to see as somebody who was not married, who was a single parent. Everybody was married from like 18, 19, married at 21. I was like, ew, that's so weird. Like, ugh, I couldn't see myself married at that age. Ugh. Like I couldn't. Like even at 36, I'm still learning and growing. So to see myself married at that age, child, I would have been divorced probably 3 times over. But I did notice that Dallas had more settled families and married couples and people having children. I'm sure Houston has it too, but like I said, Houston was more of the poppin' scene. Like you go in there, you going to clubs and poppin' bars and brunch and you poppin'. And Dallas has those areas, do not get me wrong, but it just isn't the same. And unless you know the both cities, you know what I'm talking about. As I stated before, I'm more of a Mexican food person. So I wanted to be near where I could get some good chips and salsa, guacamole. I'm in this California group, this Cali to Texas group on Facebook, and they be going in on the Mexican food here. And I understand the difference, and I understand why they're pissed about it. But it's like, you're in a different part of a state. You're in a different part, LA is close to Mexico. LA is close to Tijuana, and it's close to more of a Mexico. Literally you drive 2.5 hours and you're in Tijuana. Whereas here, Houston is actually, I believe, closer to Mexico. San Antonio, I know for sure is close to Mexico, but the food here is more kind of, it's Tex-Mex. It's Mexican with a Texan flair to it. So it's not gonna be the same. I mean, literally I have to do a whole nother video about the food, the Tex-Mex food. But I wanted to be near a place that could give me the soul food, the Mexican food. I did my best to try to put myself in an environment where I could have all the food that I needed, because y'all know I'm a foodie. Horrible, but I'm a foodie. You know, I'm working on it, but I just, you know, food makes me happy. And I just wanted to be somewhere where I could have all of that. And I know Houston has Mexican food. I'm sure they do. I just knew that Dallas had more options for like street tacos. And Austin is known for like their breakfast tacos. But I know they have places out here that had good breakfast tacos and queso. And I will literally live off tortilla chips and be just fine. I literally can live off tortilla chips and salsa and be just fine. Whereas Houston is more soul food, you know, so it caters more to that culture, and that's okay. It just, again, depends on what you're looking for. Both are great with home prices. I think both are expensive as hell now. It's not what it was 10 years ago, you guys. I'm so sorry. Y'all caught on to the memo a little too late. It is not what it was 10 years ago. You're not gonna find a house here for $115,000 anymore. Those days are gone. Expect to pay between the twos and, well, the high ones to the mid threes for a regular home, depending on the area that you're in. Like I said, I remember when Dallas was dirt cheap. I know Houston was dirt cheap at a time, but because so many people are moving here now, Texas like, okay, hey, we about to, you know, we about to get on it. But it makes it bad for people like who are from Texas, and they're not coming here with these California salaries. They're not coming here with these New York salaries or Chicago salaries. They're making Texas salaries. But I think now Texas jobs are starting to get on it and starting to pay more, but you just have to look. I mean, that's a whole nother video conversation. Stick to the script, Carlotta. But the home prices, you still can get a house. You still can get a house. It is not that bad like LA. Literally, my mom's house in South Central LA was going for $610,000, okay? Literally, Florence in Vermont, the house was being sold for $610,000. That is freaking insane. There's no, like, do you know what you could get here for that? Do you know what you could get in Texas for $600K? Script, Carlotta. But I will say that you still can get a really good home. Great prices. You still can do it in time. This is May 2021. I don't know what it's going to look like in 2-3 years from now from this video. So, you know, y'all may want to like scratch this little segment out. But for now, you still can come here and get a really nice home. So hurry up if you're going to make that move. Hurry up, because I don't know how long it's going to last. I think that Dallas downtown is a little nicer. If y'all disagree, you know, let me know and give me your reasons why. I'm curious. But I think that Dallas's downtown is a little nicer than Houston's. Yeah, so that I'm a person, I look at people's downtown. I look at downtowns. I'm weird like that. I look at the buildings and what it's like and what's the vibe. And, you know, I don't like going downtown a lot because it's a lot of one-way streets. I literally avoid downtown whenever I can. But if someone else is driving, I love going. But if I'm driving, my anxiety be through the roof. But when you have in Houston, a lot of times you have to go through downtown to get to the other side of Houston. And whereas Dallas is not as bad like that, unless you're going maybe from like Lancaster or like DeSoto. You kind of got to go through the 35 or the 30 to get over, whatever, script. But I like Dallas downtown a little bit better. So all of these are the reasons why I chose Dallas over Houston. I just felt like with all of these pros and cons that Dallas was more fitting to the lifestyle that I needed. I didn't want to be in the life where it was still cracking. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know if a lot of people who've been here 10 to 15 years, Dallas scene, the club scene, when I first came here, it was popping. Like, we are all still hurt that Park Avenue / Beamers is no more. Like, I am so hurt. Like, I can't believe that it's not there anymore. It makes me so sad. But, because that was the only club that could get me out. So, sorry. Yeah, so I lost my point. Oh, yes. So the club scene, like I said, Houston was more popping. Now, I don't know where it is now. Maybe some people who see this video, y'all can drop some comments if y'all know. But I'm not in that scene anymore of my life. Like, that's kind of been here and gone. But at the time, it was more Houston. Houston was cracking. Like, you would go to Houston for a weekend and get it popping. But Dallas, and it was a good scene here, but I will say that the people were a little different. You know, people in Dallas, they say Dallas people tend to be a little bit more bougie, and I did notice that. People in Houston tend to be more cool, more, you know what I'm saying, more welcoming, more down to earth, you know, that hood, you know, metallic candy paint and, you know, chopped and screwed music. I like Houston. I like Houston. Like, if it wasn't for the hurricanes and the humidity, I probably would have went to Houston, honestly. But because of the lifestyle that I was looking for, I wanted to be more settled. I wanted to live the quiet, peaceful life. I wanted to settle, and whether or not, I didn't know if I was gonna ever get married. And if I didn't get married, I wanted to ensure that I still have the life that I craved, which was a peaceful, quiet country life. So with that said, what do you think? Would you choose Houston? Would you choose Dallas? Drop some comments below. I would love to hear from you. But I think both are ultimately are great cities. It's just, you need to figure out what will work best for you. What are you looking for? People, I tell my clients all the time, if you are interested in Dallas and Houston, you need to visit both. You need to give yourself a few days and you need to come and see both. But in terms of Dallas and Houston, like, definitely see both, visit both, experience both. Both have their own form of cultures. Both have so many different things to offer. And the good thing is they're only like 4 hours from each other. And the thing that Houston has, they have Galveston, they have the beach. I have videos about Galveston now where everybody was trashing Galveston. And, you know, I understand why they are, but at the same time, people who are coming from coastal cities, they just want to know where there's a beach. They don't care how fly the beach is. They just want to know that they have somewhere where they can go and get that. A lot of people like myself who are from a coastal city, we just crave the water. We're water people. So we just want to go. I say I'm a water person, but I'm not a hurricane water person. I'm more of a watch the sunset on the ocean kind of person. But you just have people who want to know that they're within distance of being able to see a beach. So Houston does have that. They have that over Dallas. We have Great Lakes here, but it is not, Dallas does not have that. So if you're looking for a beach vibe, Galveston is definitely more for you. But the good thing is, like I said, Dallas to Galveston is only maybe 4.5 to 5 hours. It's fun to road trip. So, you know, road tripping out here is kind of fun. So it just all matters on what you're looking for. So yeah, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please give my video a thumbs up. Drop some comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you prefer Dallas? Do you prefer Houston? What are your pros and cons? I would love to hear your thoughts. So with that said, I'll talk to you guys on the next video. Talk to you later. Mwah.